started out very, very well, 5-1, then fell to 5-5. Since then, they have again been performing at a much higher level. Some changes came into the team, and you're never quite sure just how good Dignitas is, because despite the fact that they could beat a team like TSM or Immortals, they also almost always go 3 games, even against the worst teams in the league. So they haven't shown that level of consistency, the level of dominance that you do expect from a top-tier team.
Absolutely. That consistency does need to be there, along with the rest of the powerhouse plays that Team Dignitas is bringing in. Third ban now from them as we finalize the first phase into our picks. Lourlo and the team have been favoriting that Maokai to start things off, but we'll have to see if it's maybe Lourlo's top laner that they go for.
Yeah, Maokai certainly could be the first pick here if Team Dignitas does not decide to ban it away. Some teams are seeing it actually go lower in priority, which is surprising to me because I do think that Maokai still is that kind of S-tier jungler and top laner. We also have Cho'Gath available, so you even can go for that kind of 2-part combo and actually have one in top lane, one in jungle if you do want a really strong front line.
More and more the Tristana gets picked up. I saw Altec going player of the game quite hard on that just the other day, yesterday, if you will.
Yeah, Tristana has really been rising in priority. It's much more commonly a first round on red side, though. You don't see a lot of just straight up first pick Tristanas, so this is somewhat interesting to see that actually prioritized over some of the other picks like the Maokai, which Team Dignitas is very likely to lock in. We know that they actually can play it in jungle, they can play it in top. J4, another pick that really has been very highly prioritized as it works extremely well in both jungle and top too. You know, flex picks really have been a big part of the drafting system in especially the 10 ban era because of the viability that they give you. You know, going into the second round, it's hard to know where to target bans.
Unless they pick Nunu, but it doesn't seem like they will. A lot more not first pick, sorry, mid laners picked in the first phase here as we get through so they don't get pinched out throughout that second phase of bans. We'll have to see if Mickey gets his as well.
Yeah, Mickey can decide to go for it. If he doesn't actually pick it up in this round, then we could see Dignitas try to target him, try to take away some of those powerful picks against the Taliyah, but already the Ahri going to be locked in. And it should be a pretty strong matchup for the Ahri into Taliyah. Taliyah in general does struggle with, you know, assassin aggressive type picks. Really can be tough for her to actually match them in those 1v1 duels. Assassins and champions like Ahri can just jump on the Taliyah and actually try to force her into an all-in. And the fact that Taliyah does not have a combat ultimate means that she's going to struggle in those sorts of fights. Taliyah is going to be looking to try to shove out this lane, roam to the side lanes, and get something done there.
I like this pickup of the Gragas as well. Maybe Dignitas would have taken it, but now they both have this flex game that they can start to play, and they get that out of the hands of Shrimp. But keeping it color-coded on the side of Dignitas. Yellows, oranges, it's nice and warm. Sivir gets locked in, and this team is going to be going fast.
Yeah, definitely going to be an aggressive composition here with the J4 and the Sivir. Certainly gives you a lot of ways to engage. Also in combination with Taliyah. We still don't know if this is going to be J4 top or jungle. More commonly, it is played top, but more and more these days we have been seeing it in the jungle as people are starting to play kind of tank Jarvan. It's something that wasn't nearly as popular in the past, but there's a lot of builds. Cinderhulk and a Knight's Vow seems to be the most common these days, and it's allowing people that comfort in the jungle.
Maokai has just found his way all the way down here in the second tier. What is happening to the tree? Needs a little bit of love. Might find it this game. Bard gets banned out as they're looking at Matt. Had some pretty crazy games yesterday from that support position, roaming very early. And he actually had to ban out, they did, I should say, the Thresh on their side. What is the next one from Dignitas?
You'll have to track and see if they want to try to target more support bans. It could make some sense simply because they don't know if Gragas is top or jungle. So if you target either one of those roles, you can simply put Gragas in that role, and then it's kind of a wasted ban. This way you're at least getting some value out of any one of those.
Slip top. Already have the AD carries hit here.
I mean, it's a somewhat similar situation for Team Liquid. Because if you're banning out top laners, well, J4 can just go top, so ban out one of the supports. This is something that Adrian has been playing a fair bit, and also very strong in combination with that Sivir. If you can actually protect the Sivir, buffer up, she becomes a menace in the late game. Once she unlocks, her IE, a couple crit items, you have the Ricochet, you really can be super powerful in team fights.
Like you get a Tarek somewhere in here or a Lulu for one of these teams. Be good for the speed up side of Dignitas as they go for 1 shield already. And now Team Liquid has to show their full hand. Did they get the Lulu? Matt having a pretty decent Lulu in the past, as well as some Tarek from this squad.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like the Lulu. I think it makes a lot of sense in combination with the Tristana, and they already have a pretty strong front line with the Gragas drafted up. Shen means that we are going to see this be a Jarvan jungle, though, for Shrimp, so it's going to be the Shen for Ssumday. We don't yet know if Lourlo is going to be playing the Gragas or if he wants to go for something else, because he could go for something like a Rumble, which is a pretty good matchup. You even can still go things like Fiora and try to outscale and outmatch the Shen in that way. And and then there's certainly the more standard options of kind of these tanky fighters, such as Renekton or Camille or these sorts of things.
That's true. Camille's left up. Yeah, you already mentioned the Fiora. Good powerhouse picks from the top. The old Poppy for Lourlo.
All right.
I've had some pretty great games on that in the past.
And Poppy is actually really frustrating for Shen to deal with because you can actually interrupt Shen's taunt with your heroic presence. So it does stop a lot of the things that Shen wants to do, and you can actually trade pretty well. Poppy got a buff a couple patches back, kind of increasing the maximum health damage on her Q, which helps her in these tanky matchups. And I think it makes a lot of sense. There is also a ton of playmaking for the Poppy and the ability to kind of keep this backline safe. Similarly, you can interrupt the flag and drag coming out of Shrimp. So there's a lot of peel in this composition. Very big front line for TL. And then you have Piglet, you have Mickey, going to be buffed up by Matt, who are going to be looking to put out that damage and try to take over team fights.
And that's where our eyes are going to be looking, as you just mentioned, that mid lane Mickey coming into Team Liquid now. Is this a team that they can start to really structure around and find that synergy? Piglet and Matt on the bot side have been increasing that throughout the split. Dardoch now back on the team, finding that again with Lourlo here and Mickey to squeeze into that composition as they finalize it out. Dignitas is going to be a big test here as Dignitas looks to be in playoff form. They had one hell of a split already and they look to end it even better here with another win.
They certainly have, and they are running much more of a pick-based composition. I don't think that the straight-up 5v5 team fight should be nearly as strong as TL's, but they have Blitzcrank. If you can actually catch one of those juicy targets, it can be very, very strong. One of the things that makes me a little bit worried about the pick is the amount of mobility coming out of Ahri already, and then Piglet on the Tristana, you can buffer your rocket jump to actually jump out of that hook. So if you're not going to get those two, well, you don't want to hook in a tank, so that really leaves you only with Lulu. It's kind of makes me feel like they have to be able to snowball the bot lane with this Blitzcrank, with the Jarvan coming in, and if they can't do that, they may struggle. But Dignitas certainly has a lot of ability to bring their team down to the bot lane. Taliyah ulting in, Shen ulting in. You could expect to see 5-man bot.
I cannot wait. These fights, as you're saying, going to be very hectic here. A lot of what Dignitas has is kind of, as you said, to hit that one person with such high mobility from TL. That has to be absolute perfect decision-making from Dignitas where to use those cooldowns. Could be very quickly turned around. We are off and running now onto the Rift. Quite a few ignites here on the side. Mickey going full aggression on that mid lane. We also have one for Matt and Adrian, so nobody holding back this game. Keane's going to look actually to get that cleanse, keep himself safe from any charm hits coming from the jungle and mid.
Interesting that no one is actually deciding to go with that exhaust, especially with some prime targets. I mean, it makes sense with Blitzcrank if you're trying to snowball, but for Matt, when you have this very powerful team fight, many players would kind of prioritize playing with that exhaust to try to keep their Tristana alive and make sure that they are safe. But this also does give them some all-in potential of their own. And Dardoch on the Gragas has some very explosive gank power already, so we may see them look to utilize that.
He's got 24 AP already. He's cruising pretty hard, has his support item to help out. We'll see if he charges that up fast as well and gets that to the second level before anything else for a little more damage in lane.
Yeah, you've definitely been seeing a lot more supports start to prioritize the coin, something that can very easily be kind of stacked up and get to that support quest completion. Dignitas actually going to move in here as a 3-man squad, and they're going to steal away at least the little Raptors, which is going to be pretty nice for them. A couple CS goes over to Keane, a couple over to Altec, and then they'll try to see if they can get back to bot to actually collect this up. And very nice for Keane, because he's actually not going to lose any of the farm, really, or at least not any of the experience.
Right. Yeah, they're pretty matched up. Just check their bars, just around 90%, getting ready for that too. And we'll see that Keane gets that first as it pushes into the turret. Bottom lane is safe. Adrian goes for the first hook. You miss the ones you don't take, so you got to take them.
You certainly do, but when you miss that hook, the other team's going to go aggressive because that is really all the threat that is offered by Blitzcrank. So as soon as that hook missed, we know that TL has full control of that minion wave, and Dignitas is just going to have to sit all the way back. They're going to have to accept the fact that they will be losing a fair number of these minions, and they're going to have to try to farm it up under turret.
Piglet himself, they're losing a few. The explosive shot makes it difficult.
Shrimp could actually go for this, but it's not a level 2 bot lane. They may try anyway. This is actually pretty risky.
Altec 2, they just got it onto Adrian. He flashes forward, and they actually decide to go out of that. Matt's flash blown as well.
It's a trade of flashes, but I would say this is pretty significantly in the favor of TL because Piglet actually did a great job trading damage back onto Adrian, and Adrian is quite low on health now. And if Blitzcrank can't play aggressively, cannot posture aggressively, he really offers almost nothing in lane. So we'll see how Dignitas is going to be able to hold up down here. And there is the buffered rocket jump that we talked about. And Piglet using that very well. If you can time it perfectly, the hook essentially accomplishes nothing. It's just a trade.
See, Shrimp is then watching Dardoch as the fight goes down on the bot side. He'll try to steal out his Raptors. His Dardoch gets his Krugs for now. Top lane 18-12, but you can see all that CS is there for Lourlo to pick up in front of the turret.
Yeah, a lot of farm here for him to pick up. Probably going to end up relatively even, you would expect. Or you would hope for him.
Makes it difficult for Poppy.
CS, the pressure's on. Lourlo, how are you going to do? Nope. All right, actually not so hot, but it's okay. Either way, going to be pushing in, going to be able to scale up. You don't want to give up too much of a push, though, because some of the advantage that is going to be given to Ssumday is the ability to actually leave the lane. So he not only procs the Blast Cone, he wards over by Gromp. This is going to give them some information of where Dardoch could be and make it much safer for him to actually play pretty aggressively, whereas Lourlo really has no idea where Shrimp could be on the map right now.
It's actually one of my favorite things to do if you have control of the lane, and it's good to do and kind of fit in your regular back and forth is hit the Blast Cone, hit the Scryer's Bloom, and you get back to lane. It kind of breaks the monotony of standing there and forget that you haven't warded yet. So you also remember to ward. It's very good. Good. So people said plants aren't worth it. Coming up on 5 minutes here. You see a little more pressure from Shrimp on the bot side. Would expect that with Matt's flash still being down. They just want to work off that window as it is open. Doesn't look like they'll get too much here. Even with no wards, Piglet and Matt are still playing pretty safe.
And Dardoch looking to actually get some counter jungling done here. He could come over the wall behind Keane if he wants to try to go for that play. This may be a bit of a fight for the camp, though, as Shrimp has arrived, and Dardoch just going to fully bail out, not getting really any of that camp done whatsoever. Did not have the confidence that they would actually be able to win the 2v2, I guess, if Keane makes the collapse.
Hey, hook after hook, why not? Jumps in, says if you're gonna fight, you're gonna have to fight both of us immediately. And you can't damage trade with a Lulu and a Trist right away.
I mean, Piglet is just playing this very, very well. They did get the heal out, though, which is pretty big. And Mickey gonna be able to stop the base there of Keane, but take some damage. But either way, you know, I think that Piglet stepping forward very aggressively, as soon as he realizes that the threat is actually gone or the threat is not on him, he's trading so heavily with his opponents, and that is allowing them to come out from these situations quite well. So I think he's definitely handling it.
He goes back for the quick pickaxe too. They feel like they're going to get pulled, engaged on more. He wants that damage right away.
I also think it's smart simply because they don't actually know exactly where Shrimp is now. They're assuming that Shrimp is clearing towards the bot side and their wave is pushed up. So take the time, go back to base. You don't know where the opposing jungler is. Now they're going to try to utilize this to make a 4-man play topside. We'll see if they can actually pull off a dive on Ssumday and then perhaps go for that first turret with the Tristana.
Boots to the top side as well. Altec goes back to lane with a BF.
Oh, he got spotted. They pinged it out, so they know they're there now.
Just the last moment. A nice wave just over a single. They have a few more caster minions here to help on this, and with that pickaxe, we'll see if they have enough damage on the turret. Great job by Ssumday. Gets close enough to at least take the explosive shot damage, pushes Piglet off, and he saves a bit of damage to the turret. Back and forth.
Actually pretty smart play there from Dardoch. So he walks up, so the taunt is actually used. And not a lot of threat put out on Piglet. Dardoch will be able to back off, but they do defend the turret for now. And Altec is actually just shoving on the bot side, getting all this solo experience. So as long as Dignitas is actually holding on the top side, they're denying more minions on the bot side. They're getting more solo experience and gold on their AD carry. So as of right now, I would say Dignitas is getting more out of this.
Ever so slowly. Lourlo are able to pick up the CS now, and we'll see how fast they switch back, or if Dignitas even feels like they need to switch back now. We already see Ssumday coming towards that bot side. Quick back from Altec. He does not go mid.
Yeah, and Altec is very likely going to head top, but Lourlo going to stop him, and it's a pretty greedy spot to actually base in. So now they are significantly delayed, and this is actually pretty costly.
Yeah.
Because if he can't get up there in time, they could be able to pressure the turrets, only blitz, but it looks like a TL has made the call to try to swap again. So once again, they're going to try to stay one step ahead of Dignitas. As the Dignitas bot lane gets top, they're going to head right back bot and look to pressure that turret.
And instead of backing, Altec takes the long run, coast to coast, all the way up through mid, gonna head towards top, and then realize everything's been switched again. We'll see how long this one lasts, but that turret will stay protected on the top side for sure with a Sivir there. Small gold lead in favor, about 600 right now for Dignitas, as they keep these lanes farmed.
Certainly pretty impactful when you realize it's just from farm, though. No kills, no turrets going over. And a lot of that really is just to do with Shrimp. Shrimp is actually up 500 gold almost on his own, just in the jungle. He has farmed quite a lot more than Dardoch, and Dardoch, you know, has spent some time looking for these ganks, you know, waiting in the top lane brush, trying to put on pressure. And when you go for those sorts of plays, sure, it can really pay off, but if you can't actually execute on the gank, you're just going to fall behind of your opponent, and that is kind of what has happened here to him.
Well, here's the question for Team Liquid as well. You have new players coming in, and obviously you want to have a good laning phase, but do they try things here? You know, do they get Mickey going in the beginning, or do they allow Mickey to just play against Keane? Do they have Lourlo do a TP, play bot, or have they just kind of still been getting those fundamentals with the team going?
I mean, I think you're going to have to play it by ear, but in my opinion, for TL, with their composition in this game, the onus is on Dignitas. The onus is not on TL, because I think that their 5v5 later in the game is much easier to execute, is stronger because of that. Like, they have a massive front line. They have a supportive AD carry who's going to buff up, you know, the Tristana to really, really get Piglet to a strong stage. And they have a lot of damage coming out of Mickey on the Ahri as well. So I just think that the longer the game goes and nothing happens, it favors TL. So it's Dignitas that needs to look for plays with the Blitz, with the Shen ult, you know, trying to get picks, trying to make things happen.
Few wards push towards the river, mostly on the side of Dignitas, meaning they don't have too much fog of war to play with on those hooks. As you can see, Adrian hatching a ward there on the top side. They just kind of ping and wait. Not playing too safe, but also not playing too aggressive. Looks like Adrian realizes he was figured out, though. Dardoch just on the edge. They got sure to sweep that brush so they didn't know he was coming in. And the teleport actually gets stopped down on the bot side. Lourlo does not come in.
Yeah, Lourlo deciding to cancel that. Really confident that they would actually be able to pull off that that ult combo from Dardoch to knock them in and perhaps get a committed fight. That being said, they don't even get the Shen ult. They get nothing. So now Shen is actually 2 globals up on Lourlo because he has his TP and his ultimate still available. So Dignitas should be the ones looking to force a play here. They really do want to try to push the pace of the game, and they have all the ability to do it.
Ssumday able to put quite a bit of damage down onto Lourlo, push him out of lane. Ping down towards the bot side, another swap happening here. And it looks like they may actually try to get a fight down. This could be for the top turret. Not too much damage came from Dignitas on that top side, so that's what TL's banking on, is that they'll have more time down here. But they're not going to make it in time.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they are going to be able to, as the top turret, you know, not that low yet. We'll see if Dignitas is actually going to get anyone down here. They are now putting Shrimp up top, so it's just going to be a turret race. And they should be able to get it with this third member here. They're just going to tank it up and finish off that turret. And Dignitas is going to be the ones to actually get the first turret gold.
That will cause Ssumday to move off. Maybe he'll stay for just a second.
The problem with this is TL is so behind the play now. Dignitas could actually make the call to just go straight for a second turret. I think that's what they should be doing, but they are going to try to retreat back to this Rift Herald. So that is going to try to be their advantage, as it will be a turret trade. They get first turret, and they're looking to grab the Rift Herald while they move Sivir back to the bot lane.
Ssumday nicely keeping vision on the 3 members in the bot. The turret is doing that as well, but he gets to make sure they don't leave too soon. Rift Herald will easily be taken now. First big hit by Mickey in mid, throws down the Spirit Rush. Just over the left shoulder went the charm, and Keane gets out safely with his dodging.
You can see how much damage Keane took there, though, going down about 30–40% health with the charm not landing, with Ignite not being used. So there certainly is a lot of kill threat here from Mickey, and he actually didn't even use the Proto Belt either.
Yeah, he got
so
super mobility.
Did hold on to a lot of his cooldowns there.
He said, I didn't what, mate? Proto Belt. Dragon as well going over to Team Liquid. That'll be great with the Tristana. That'll be great for Lourlo to be in these side lanes with a bit more turret damage.
A very passive game so far from both these teams.
Yeah.
Kind of taking each other's measure and just moving back and forth. The top lane turret is very low, though, for Dignitas, so I would like to see TL try to target that next. If they could get up topside with Piglet and Matt, if they can make that rotation first, even if Ssumday is there to defend, it's only a couple shots away from going down, so that would do a lot to get some more gold in their pockets and utilize the early Mountain Dragon that they picked up.
Tracker's nice for Dardoch. Should be able to get out and put some more vision on the map along with Matt. This time Matt playing a much different game than he did in a Thresh yesterday, hanging around Piglet with that Lulu. Obviously you have to keep him a little safer through this portion of the game. Right now, about 968 gold for Piglet, so he's still waiting to charge up enough for that BF sword, or at least to get his energizing items.
Yeah, we'll see what he does go for. You would expect to see him grab that BF sword before going any further, but maybe he's happy with the AD he's got from the pickaxe. He could still go straight into something like a Shiv. Dignitas, though, pressing on that bot side, will knock down another turret, and they're doing okay with this gold lead, certainly, and they may not feel pressured by TL simply because they may be more confident in their macro play. Yep. But I still do favor the composition from TL.
Ignite went down that time, pulls out the Stand United. Still has another one actually get himself to safety. Nicely used there by Mickey. Uses his last rush as necessary.
Yeah, really good play there from Mickey. He actually gets the cleanse out, gets the Stand United from Ssumday, so does spend his ultimate, does spend his Ignite, but I would say he comes out ahead in that trade. He is pressuring Keane pretty well. Ahri, certainly champion he's pretty experienced with. He saw his pro record, 10-8 there overall. Obviously, almost all those games are from the LCK, where he has had kind of, I would say, mixed bag of results. He has some very high highs, and if you've heard of Mickey, it's probably because you know him from actually being able to beat Faker a couple times and putting a lot of trash talk on Faker. But generally, by the end of the year, Faker was the one who had the last laugh.
Absolutely, as it usually is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you could ace all the tests, but the exam, it just doesn't matter. It's a Faker exam. Somebody's going to change that someday soon. I think the numbers are coming up already.
It could be this year.
Yep.
15 not looking quite as strong.
All 15 minutes into this game. Cloud Drake, the next one, so it may not draw too much attention. Remember that Rift Herald still in the hands of Shrimp. Be used somewhere around the map if they get those lanes in order. Right now they have a little pushing to set up. Bottom was the focus for now.
It will be interesting to see if Mickey actually goes into the Lich Bane next. The Lich Bane Proto Belt, speaking of that build, has kind of fallen out of favor, but it's something that was actually popularized and kind of come up with, or at least popularized in pro play by Faker. So
who again?
Faker, there you go. And Piglet actually used it a fair bit when he was playing mid lane for TL. He actually liked this build a lot. So we're gonna see Dig looking for the siege.
Nice quick hit in mid. More so prepping this one for the result of a good fight that they may be able to get soon. That'll be down to just about a third of health. Quick work for Altec and the team if they're able to make it. This turret never actually going down in the whole trading of lanes. So Ssumday getting the better of it, has a lane to push up nicely, and he's fed with CS right away. Push out and a dodge. Nice job by Piglet.
Yeah, Piglet might have had the timing for the rocket jump even if it actually did connect. Not quite able to find that connection though for Adrian, but so far so good. I think I was up a decent amount of gold here, a couple thousand in the lead. Certainly when the turret gets knocked down in the top lane, it is very close, and as we have talked about, I do feel like Dignitas needs to be more proactive because in standard fights, Blitzcrank adds generally a lot less.
Oh, Adrian gets himself into a real sticky situation, gets enough shields in the mana barrier to keep himself alive.
Really nice moves there actually from Mickey, dodging back and forth, avoiding the flag drag there from Shrimp, and avoiding a lot of the CC in general. They get a couple summoners out, and the turret finally does go down.
Not much you can do about that.
Rosie.
So good. Yeah, Mickey is definitely causing a lot of chaos on the Dignitas squad here. It looks like Team Liquid trying to lock down onto Ssumday. Rotation up from both Shrimp and Matt coming. Matt actually stays mid, and they're going to start pushing in Keane.
And it's smart for TL to back off. They see Shrimp coming up, and they're not really sure they want that 2v2. Dardoch does not have his ultimate, so I do think it would be ill-advised for them to go for it. And as you can see, Shrimp is going for that tank Jarvan build. Adrian looking for Mickey again, can't find him. But he's not going for the standard second item, Knight's Vow, at least just yet. But he is going to grab the locket. I think that's very reasonable as well. And you could look to grab the Knight's Vow a little bit later on for Altec.
Both of them reaching their Infinity Edge status. Altec actually able to get that first Zeal in. Piglet has the money, but he is waiting to go back because he's going to go ahead and farm this top wave out. Dardoch also back onto the map. Sweepers up as he gets that upgrade, so now TL can start to take control of their jungle. Already warding it quite a bit. We haven't really seen too much of a push of those wards. They finally got some behind the red, so we may see something towards that top side.
And it looks like TL bot lane is going to go mid. We'll see if they send Mickey now to a side lane to try to farm that up. He is not going for the Lich Bane, as we talked about. We'll be going towards the Luden's Echo. So this is much more of an assassination type build, trying to dive into the backline, take out Keane, or take out Altec very, very quickly.
Oh, Luden. Quick AoE damage. Mickey wants more speed, more power. I like it. Can only make you stronger. Keane just clearing out waves right now. Knows Mickey will go for that engage. Has the ignite, and he has to just play a little bit more safe. Bot lane's getting pressure from Shrimp and the rest of the squad. Adrian and Altec are here. Just going to call down Matt, and they might get another rotation if they don't try their own thing in mid.
I've got to say, though, if we're actually using this game as kind of a report card or a scouting report for Dignitas going into the playoffs, it hasn't been that impressive yet. They're not really making a lot of plays. As TL may be looking for a fight here, we'll see.
Oh. Gets close. Oh, the kiss of death. Make sure the charm is right in there. Adrian stunned, gets himself out. Ignite is burning. Adrian goes down. Mickey gets first blood. Shrimp very low as well. Another ignite comes into play as Piglet fishes that one off. And now Piglet's in a bad situation. Gets out of that through the blast cone, but he gets himself to safety. And now they are going to be going for the exit on this fight. That was actually Mickey's first blood in this game and the latest first blood of the split.
Yeah, Piglet just diving way too deep there.
Back forth.
Going in right into the two carries of Dignitas. I think they had that fight for sure if they played it more slowly. Nice reactive flash, though.
Ssumday, got to be careful. He does have that Sunfire cape on, so he's got to get himself out quick for damage to the turret. And yeah, Piglet, once he saw that Ignite blast shot go down, he was all in and a little too far.
Definitely really want to try to clean up some of those carries, but he could have just gone frontline. I mean, they already had 2 kills. It was a 5v3, and he is their consistent damage. That should have been an easy fight for TL to clean up, but for Dignitas, I mean, they're being not very proactive at all. This is the first Taliyah ultimate we see in the game used defensively. The Shen ultimates have only been used defensively, and the engage coming in here from Mickey. They're focusing on Adrian. Adrian gets taken down pretty quickly, and if you track Piglet in the fight, he jumps forward, looking to actually take out Shrimp. Gonna flash in to do it, but then what is this jump? I mean, going straight in there onto Keane and Altec in the 1v2. If you simply jump back towards your team, I think you can probably focus down Ssumday in the front line and look to play that fight a bit more slowly. But getting a bit overbold, perhaps, as he actually picked up that first kill and maybe thought he could have.
Sometimes that Infinity Edge makes you feel more powerful than you are. Like, I finished it. Let's go. He's got a few more, though, now with that Zeal finished up. Zerkagri is able to help him spit out a few more bullets with his rapid fire. And you see Matt trying to get some deep wards in ever so slowly. The Baron is up now. Might have just enough damage to take that if there is a full team wipe going on. Mickey back to the mid lane. And blue against a double buff Keane.
I really do want to see Dignitas be more proactive, though. They're playing against TL, the last place team right now in the league, or tied for last in the league. And they're going into the playoffs against C9, who has been very, very strong lately. Dignitas needs to be proactive with their champions. You know, where are the Weaver's walls to the side lanes? Where are the Shen ultimates for engages? Where are the engages at all, right? They are playing a team that I feel very strongly gets outscaled.
It looks like they're trying to engage as much as they can on Dignitas so they don't have a chance to think about it themselves. It's not looking good though for Dardoch and Mickey. They get stuck in the Cataclysm, and Shrimp puts them right in front of the turret for more shots. Bouncing Blade almost takes down Dardoch. One last shot. It's going to be the flyover from Keane. That's the wall they needed to weave, and they take the fight that TL follies.
Yeah, TL tries to take that fight. I mean, Mickey commits all his ultimate charges forward, and Shrimp's able to catch him in the Cataclysm. He goes down. They lose Dardoch. This is going to be a Baron here for Dignitas very early on. We'll see if Lourlo and Matt can actually do anything about it.
Lourlo's into the party. Matt on the other side. If only they had Piglet to fire in some of the AD on this situation. Keane's going to be able to push out Matt. Good damage onto the Baron and onto Dignitas. 4,200 HP. Can he throw enough glitter to stop them?
He can. He's backing off. Looks like he decided to give up.
Yeah, he did.
He can't get anything more done in the situation. I tend to agree. There was not much for him to do there once Lourlo had gone down, but TL taking an ill-advised fight. Dignitas gonna get a lot off of that, and now with the Baron buff, you can actually start to split push. You can spread out the map. Be able to buff up 3 lanes and look to try to really extend this gold lead. But let's watch this fight again. This is a tank that they are engaging into. Mickey utilizes all his ult charges straightforward, has nowhere to actually escape from the Cataclysm. They are locked in right by the turret, just getting absolutely shredded by Keane and Altec there. And the chase down comes in. Nice Weaver's wall out from Keane to corral Dardoch, which essentially unlocks that Baron.
That it could have been quick. I didn't think it was going to happen a few seconds later. Very, very quick moves now by Dignitas. Maybe this is where they don't hesitate. But then it is not bringing it to 3 games after this. If they are able to take this, the second game is just as quick. They can end it before 30. You just got to see that consistency from a team that high up in the charts.
Yeah, you want to see them in that playoff form, threatening these top teams. We heard people talking about it on the analyst desk. Mark thinks that it's just going to be the same teams as always. It's going to be C9, CLG, it's going to be TSM because they've showed consistency. And there's the dive.
Turret or not, Diggs going in, and TL is falling left and right. Shrimp again, Cataclysm. Mickey gets stuck inside. It's the Spirit Rush being down there, trying to work on that window of low mobility, and TL can't find the way to safety if all of that is gone. 8-3, now the base is cracked. Sub 25 minutes.
And Dignitas being very decisive there.
Stopping.
They find the dive. Dardoch and Lourlo nowhere to be seen, and they could actually just try to push for perhaps the win. I don't think they can get it done, though, as the respawn timers are so low this early in the game, and the waves are pushing against them on the side lanes. So they will back out for now.
An incredible show of strength there when they could pull the trigger. And Dignitas will see this one more time. Straightforward, and the hook being down made them feel safe.
Yeah, you can see that he actually just got caught by the seismic shove, so Piglet just walked back into the seismic shove. They follow up with the taunt. Lourlo not able to actually be there, and Dardoch unable to disengage it with his ultimate. So, that one misstep from Piglet costing TL so much.
Dragon after dragon. If you can get enough of these, Elder Drake becomes even stronger for you. You may not get it. Looks like they're actually going to peel off for this for now.
Yeah, we'll see if they do try to commit to it. Somebody's already pushing up on the top side. He cannot join the fight just yet, as his TP and his Stand United are down. And I think TL is actually hoping that Dignitas would face check for the Dragon, but Dignitas doesn't have to. They already have a wave pushing in the top side. They still have the Baron buff. They can actually just go straight for a second inhibitor, and TL is just kind of caught with their pants down. Dignitas is going to go for the bigger objective.
They're going to get it very fast, too. We saw how fast they took down the Inhib and Inhib turret. And they'll actually be on this. It's Piglet and Piglet and Dardoch still waiting to get back. He's going to have to walk his way around.
And Dig sees that Piglet's not there. So they're just going to go straight in and take a free inhibitor turret.
Looks like bot lane does need to be pushed, but it is not in any quick order that they have to do it, as they're just going to go ahead and take this inhibitor first. Priority of inhibitor, possibly mid lane if they even need to go back. Shrimp and Lourlo having a face-to-face as he gets shoved back by Keane. Mickey now trying to get the Frodo belt damage in as Dardoch goes down to Ssumday and the rest of the squad. Now they're onto the inhibitor as Piglet's off to the side, trying to slalom through the minions as protection, but also can't find the shots that he needs.
And Dignitas, I mean, this game started very slowly, but a couple misplays there from TL, and Dig takes full advantage. They knock down 2 lanes of inhibitors, and it is 27 minutes in. They're pretty close to being able to close this one out. Actually, TPing back for the dragon is Ssumday, so they really do want this dragon. Strip relatively low, and they want to stay around and do it, so they're going to use the TP, knowing they have the Stand United still available.
I mean, a lot of these situations would benefit greatly if they could regen a little bit more.
Yeah.
It seems like it can stay for these fights very long. The dragon only helping that, and now the bot lane push, last one to go.
I certainly felt like TL is often in the wrong place. You know, they don't have their assignments, you know, on lane assignments kind of fully together. They're able to lane quite well. They're able to actually, you know, individually play the fights quite well for the most part, but they seem to struggle with the macro play. You know, who needs to be where, when, what should we prioritize? TL not quite on point with that, and Dignitas looking to push in, looking to actually try to close this one out. Mid lane and top lane are going to be shoving, and not a lot of time for TL to make their move.
Ssumday flexing his muscles as he taunts towards the brush. Gets Piglet to hop away real quick. You see that Knight's Vow between Dardoch and Piglet, giving everything Piglet can get here to carry this game on that Tristana.
And he's going to need it because Altec on this Sivir is actually very strong already. And he's building towards the Essence Reaver now as his 4th item, but he already has his IE. He already has his full Last Whisper item completed, going for that Mortal Reminder and the Shiv. Plus, he has his own Knight's Vow and Locket, and he is being defended very well. And with this gold lead for Dignitas, composition matters very little.
Void Staff onto Mickey. He might be able to explode a target, but you see that Banshee's Veil onto Keane, so he loses one right away. Banshee's Veil goes off. Now a possibility. 30 minutes in, Dignitas looks at this last inhibitor, but TL has a lot to worry about inside the base with super minions.
Yeah, super minions coming in 2 lanes, so they're actually just going to tank up the turret, getting a lot of damage down, and as the minion wave comes in, they have to make a choice. TL needs to either engage fully, or they're just going to lose.
Or they'll be engaged. That's Dardoch going in, Dardoch going down. Shrimp actually blows the Cataclysm away, so the team can continue to maneuver around and find another portion of the fight. It's going to be an inhibitor turret for now, and TL is going to be forced to defend the Nexus.
I don't think they're going to be able to do it with 3 lanes of super minions coming down. Dignitas looking to close this one out right now.
Keane on the front line, working, weaving the ground so Piglet has nowhere to walk. You can see even the Leandry's burning down. They have so much just dot damage after the attacks. You got to be worried about the follow-up. The team's going to go ahead and actually just take everything. Go around the horn first, make sure there's nothing to hide behind for TL. And even now, they don't feel like they have the minions to do it.
Yeah, I guess they really just want to try to play the most safe possible game you can.
For sure.
Go for the guaranteed win. Baron is coming up, so if TL did have a miracle defense and they ace them, then they could get out there, they could get Baron, they could hold on longer. Dignitas is going to go back to base, spend up all their gold, and try to guarantee the win by playing around this Baron with all the inhibitors down. It's so hard for TL to actually come out and challenge it. They're just going to start it up themselves. They're going to look for the rushdown. This is the last chance here for TL.
Look at this Nexus turret real fast. It's actually full HP, so they got a bit of time for it to get hit by super minions, but it will go down. Dardoch first. The pull goes on to Piglet. He's got to jump to safety, and he does get himself there, but Ssumday's very, very strong now towards the Baron pit and towards the backside. The Nexus is open with all turrets down. Mickey takes down Altec. That slows down Dignitas's hits, but it does not slow down their engage. They still want to stop TL from getting to their base.
Exactly, they just need to stop the base as they know. Look at all these minions down there. There's so many minions crowding around the Nexus. The Nexus might actually just die to the super minions here.
Oh my word.
Getting really low.
He can't even stop them all. They almost kill him outright. Mickey's got to flash away. Matt gets away with a sliver of health. Winions for Dignitas in game 1 over Team Liquid.
When you get that triple inhibitor, 6 minions, super minions spawn per wave, and it's so hard to actually hold on against it. So Dignitas going to be able to close this one out pretty quickly, despite a very slow early game.
There's like hectic things in a lot of games that you play. Any game that's been released, there's always hectic moments. League of Legends, Barons, things like that, trying to defend your Nexus from 6 super minions and their waves. That, you're just out of your mind going crazy. Piglet had his work cut out for him there, and you can see the team was just running away from the cavalry as they came in. What a game from Dignitas, but a very, very slow start. Our latest first blood of the summer split overall. Goes to Mickey, though, so good play on the Ahri coming out. But Dignitas, once they did find that window, they were like, okay, I think we got enough of a lead.
Yeah, and it may simply be that they didn't feel pressure to actually make plays because they were confident that, hey, we're a better team than TL. TL is going to mess something up later. We're going to capitalize on that mistake and close out the game very quickly, which is what they were able to do. But that being said, you are looking for an extremely dominant game from start to finish for a team that is, in the upper echelon. This is one of the top teams in the league going up against one of the teams that's going to be facing promo relegation. Yeah. So, you need to see Dignitas have a dominant early game and really play to their win conditions, because a team cannot play the same way against another top team playing this composition, right? If you're playing against
that'll be attacked.
Immortals or TSM or something playing this composition, and you allow them that much free time to scale with a composition that beats you in the 5v5, you're probably not going to have a good time.
All right, now the question is, can they keep that momentum up going into game 2? We'll find out. For a deeper dive, however, into that Team Dignitas win, let's send it over to our analysts and Dash.
Thank you very much, Rivington. Dignitas taking the first win here over Team Liquid in our first series of the day. But looking at this game, I want to take a look at it through the scope that Azael kind of presented to us, which was Dignitas rather trying to show their form going into playoffs, prove to us and Mark specifically that they can be a contender for the championship, since he doesn't think they might be able to do so.
Didn't convince me here necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. So within that, let's take a look at Champions League. Let's look at the tools that they had, they drafted, and then let's identify whether or not they played with those tools optimally.
And you can see that they pretty much have, like, at level 6, a global kind of playmaking comp. You have the Blitzcrank to kick things off in the bot lane, as well as a J4. And then the Taliyah can roam down, and Shen can teleport in. So when you hit 6, this comp really unlocks, and they can force a lot of plays. And that didn't really happen at all. There was that one rotation that TL made probably to get out of that pressure, but they ended up losing turrets. But then after that, they still should have been able to find first blood a little faster.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they could have definitely done this cleaner and done it quicker. For me, I have a hard time criticizing them that much for this victory over Team Liquid.
Yeah. How dare you lose, or how dare you win in 31 minutes, not massacring everybody.
Because as you said, you were like, oh, they start out with a really good game plan, and they're like, we're definitely going to use this level 6 Shen. Blitzcrank is a great champion to start things out on the bottom side. And so they have this good game plan. When the lane swap comes in, it stalls out a little bit. So maybe you can say, oh, they should, react quicker to in-game changes.
Right.
But even then, if we get into like the actual fights that we saw in the game, I think there was some really good play, especially from Keane with the Taliyah.
Right, very much so. And I think that back to your point though, Mark, this was the Dig team that won a game essentially with 2 kills, right? Just a week ago. And so there is, to some degree, maybe some reservation around a team that shies away from action and aggressive play when you are going to go up against someone like CLG, Dignitas, Immortals, any of these teams that with a similar composition would be happy to throw a party down in the bot lane.
For the most part, when you look at top teams and across the board in different regions, they're pretty proactive and they try to aggressively make plays. I mean, maybe you could look at like Fnatic as a team that was never necessarily super aggressive, but most teams are trying to find kills, and Dignitas does seem to be a little different in terms of style than what you're used to seeing from the #1, #2 seed, someone going to Worlds.
Look, we're looking for criticism within a win. I want to push us to that big team fight, though, that opened it up for them 22 minutes into the game. A 3-for-1 plus an eventual Baron here for Dignitas.
This is some of the coordination I'm talking about. Blitzcrank hook, then into Taliyah seismic shove there. Gets Dardoch from a whole screen away under the turret, basically, to take a tower shot. Cataclysm comes in, fish in a barrel for the Sivir. He gets multiple crits off. And it just seems like they drafted a nice composition. They utilized it quite well.
Right.
Look at that giant spike right there. That was basically the team fight.
Yeah, right there. Well, so that's what we're talking about. And I guess maybe what that feeling is because it took 22 minutes to get that kind of action. Again, this was the latest first blood that we had so far this summer split. It can maybe cause us to think, well, what the heck? Dignitas is just twiddling their thumbs. They're not doing anything. But hey, when the opportunity presented itself, boy, did they capitalize on it. You see that massive gold spike in their favor.
We're definitely being a little bit of Debbie Downers here, because when you see it, you're like, oh, look, their goal graph should be, you know, a steady climb, not this, like, nothing happens for 20 minutes into an explosive victory. You want to see them continuously making plays over the course of the game, use the Shen ult a couple times, because when you get up against a really good team, you're going to end up in a situation where you have to get the global advantage top and then use your Shen play on the bot side. They're not going to make mistakes like TL does, and if you're not constantly forcing the global advantage, these games are going to stall out, and people are going to put up a better fight.
And Kobe, let's talk about Keane. He picks up player of the game here, but again, this is a player that I feel like, well, with all the conversation around the other mid laners and the lack of mid lane bans getting to play whatever you want, I feel like Keane has very much stepped up into that role in the mid lane solidly for Dignitas, and he's got a lot of tools at his disposal that he can play at a high level.
Yeah, in their last matchup, I was also still watching him because, you know, with everybody rising up kind of around him and the side lanes being so consistent for Team Dignitas now, his good performances are so important in their continued rise to the top. It's really nice to see him do it again. And as I said before, like, Seismic Shove is definitely one of the most missed abilities, right? And he had a lot of really good ones.
Let's talk about Team Liquid just briefly. Obviously, they're expected to lose this match in terms of the standings, but what would you like to see out of them here in Game 2 to maybe combat that, extend us to a Game 3, and make that push?
I mean, I don't particularly like the Ahri. It's just a champion that's not super meta right now. People sometimes pick it, but with only the Orianna ban really thrown his way, and that's the thing that we saw 3 times yesterday, it's a bit of a question mark about what his champion pool really is. And if it's Ori and Ahri, that's a little bit concerning for me.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, when I heard about the roster pickups for Team Liquid, I was like, Dardoch plus Mickey. Well, Mickey in his interview, you know, talking about when he was coming over here, he said he wanted to show that his aggressive style is still going to be successful, and you know, he still has it basically. Him combined with Dardoch, I was like, oh, okay, it kind of makes sense.
Aggression on aggression.
Those two, mid laner jungle, like maybe they can go super hard early and have a really good mid jungle.
I mean, are we just looking for something slightly more powerful than Ahri, then like a Syndra, just someone who's got that extra oomph in terms of aggression and DPS, or rather, DPS might be the wrong term, just pure damage?
Right. I mean, just more power and just the power of the pick. Because, like, Ahri's been nerfed repeatedly to get it out of this state where it can kind of just all in you at 6, and it's really not that way. Taliyah is a champion that can sometimes struggle versus assassins, and that's why the Ahri pick isn't terrible, though the ground sometimes is annoying when you put down that minefield. But other than that, I mean, just the champion is not OP right now, not a champion that you see anyone else really playing in the league. This is the first Ahri we've seen in weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would like to see the roster that they put together perform to the style that you would assume of these players, which is that aggression on aggression from Dardoch and Mickey in the mid lane. We're going to step away for a quick break. When we come back, it's Game 2 between Team Dignitas and Team Liquid. We'll see you soon.